For all of the Weaver fans out there, I wanted to give you a quick update of what has been added recently in the last couple of weeks. First of all, I wanted to show you that in discussion topics, we have a create new topic button. You can, like normal, you enter in a subject and a little bit to describe the topic, but this will by default start out in draft and you will create a draft. The way it works now is that it's going to be easiest to create a draft. If you want to create it in a different mode, it will do that, but let's leave it in draft because that's what most people are going to do. Edit it like normal and work forward on it, but when you get to the point where you would like to send it out to everybody, there's the post topic button, and this is what operates differently. When you click post, you're basically saying you're done, but you're also going to send an email notification, and it's pulled in all of the members of this workspace into here, but it's left it to you like the address list of an email thing. If you want to take somebody off, you can click, you can take them off of here. If you want to add somebody on, you can add them in. This is now setting up the subscribers for this topic, and then of course you can send it without any email. If you want to, you can post it without email, but then you wouldn't have to change any of the subscribers. But go ahead and let's post it with email, and that's going to do that. Now everybody that was on that list is going to receive an email message saying, here's a topic, do you want to comment on it? We can take a look at what that looks like. Now the email that everybody will get will look a little bit like this. It'll have a body that looks like this, and it'll have this option down here to make a comment. Now if you click on that make a comment, it'll bring up this quick comment, quick reply form. So you can get the details by clicking on this little down arrow up here and find out everything about it. And it's a very easy way to make a comment without having to get it logging in. And now here's what the email will look like on the comment. And remember that everybody you had in that list is going to be a subscriber from the beginning. So I've added this little unsubscribe button here, and if you click unsubscribe, you're going to get a screen that looks like this, and there's a big unsubscribe button here. You can also see the other comments, and you can see some information about it. We might change this over time to look different, but currently if you really don't want to be part of this discussion, you click unsubscribe, and it's just going to take you out of the discussion like that. Now another thing that changed on the discussion topic, and every place where documents can be attached, you attach them in the same way that you did, but now notice that they look a little bit different here. The display of the document's been cleaned up. Now one of the things we were asked for was being able to download directly from here. So when you click on this document, what you're going to see is, first of all, the full name of the document. If your document has a very long name, you won't see all of it on the screen. This will show the full name, and it'll give you all these different options. You can access the document, brings you to the download page like it used to. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to download directly, you can just click download here, and it's gonna bring down the download form right there without leaving the page. So you can now go and download another one, and you can download each of these quite easily. So I think that's important. But since we have a menu there, you can also go see the document details, which is you can update the description and things like that, and you can send it by email, or if you feel like it really shouldn't be attached here, this gives you another way to unattach the document and to remove it from the discussion topic or the meeting agenda item or whatever it's attached to. The same mechanism is available everywhere. You have the ability, like we always did, for sending something by email. Sending by email, you're gonna have the same document capabilities here to access and manipulate it, and you can sort of save and preview and see what the email looks like. One of the things I had before was there was no way to delete something. Once you had saved it once, you couldn't get rid of it. So you can click the delete button here. Or if you're looking at the list of these that have been set up, a delete option, and it's still in draft mode, a delete option will appear here so that you can delete it. It's kind of a trivial thing, but it is important. Now, if you are working on something and something goes wrong, you can click the feedback button. It's right here It's always there. When you click feedback, it's going to give you a feedback form. You can enter some information about what you want to give the feedback on, but notice that the URL here is the URL that you were just looking at. So wherever you came from will be recorded as part of the whole thing. Plus the date and time and who you are is already automatically done. You click the send feedback button and that records it in the system system log. When somebody downloads a document through any means, let me just go ahead and save this someplace temporary. Now that it's been downloaded, this is again another sort of trivial thing, but this tells you in the history there's a recording of every time the document was downloaded, so you can now we can do some statistics about who has actually accessed the document in the past. Finally, we should cover a little about roles. In roles, we have this option here to do role elections. Now, I haven't done anything in this workspace, but if I say role election at this point in time, this is what it's going to do, is it'll automatically create a term starting from today's date and going out a year, and then it's going to walk you step by step through each of the things. The first step is check to make sure that the term is right. So if this wasn't what you wanted, if you wanted it to go from say January 1st to January 1st, a year from now, you can correct that at this point and save that. Then you go on to step 2. Now step 2 is where you make individual nominations. So I'm going to put myself in here. So I'll put in who the nomination should be, and I'll put a little bit of a description about that, and I'll click save. Now what it's explaining here is that you've made this nomination, it's in there, but you can't see anybody else's nomination yet, and everybody could do this synchronously, or you can have one facilitator go in and put nominations in for different people by changing who's doing the nominating here. When you go to step 3, you're now going to see all the nominations have been made. Now I've only made one nomination, but if there were 5 nominations, you'd see them all here. And now you can spend some time talking about this. If I want to change my nomination, I can click the edit button here and change it to somebody else and have a different nomination. And the whole point here is now you can sort of rationalize this and sort of keep track of that. Step 4 is where you actually make a proposal. So here you're going to actually say, all right, I really do want this guy to be the player, to play the role, to be in the role from that time to that time. And now I, as an individual, can say I consent, and I click the consent button. So this is going to keep track of all of the different responses down here. And the idea is that this, everybody comes in here and they can either consent or object, and they can enter what their objection is if they have an objection. And that's all going to be recorded in the system. But when you've gone through that, and presumably when everybody has consented, you click next, and now you're done. You're in the completed mode. We're remembering who had confirmed so that we know who that is, and we see who it is here, and that's the time period. But now when this date and time comes around, this person will automatically be playing that role, and when the end time comes, it's going to go back to whoever the default users were in the role there. So it's at this point on, it's all automated. You can go create other terms if you wish. Again, if we go back into look at the define role, we'll see that this term of office is here. We could create another term for the next year and another term for the next year. So we can have as many terms as we want to going out. And this create term button was simplified by just making it create the terms right there, and then you can go in and march each term through the 5 steps as you wish. If you get partially into a particular, if you're on step 3 here and you leave it, that's okay, because it's going to remember it. And when you go back into that particular one, see, remember it's remembered the state changing. So now when you go back, it's still going to be at step 3. It's going to remain there until you go to step 4. And finally, when you go to step 5, it will take effect during the time period there. So I hope that gives you an idea, a little understanding of some of the changes and improvements that have been put in the last couple of weeks.